Hi, you're listening to the M2 Archery Show. I'm Marco.
I'm Matt.
I'm Nat.
And we're back after a week. Has it been a week playing with the new bows?
Yeah.
Wow. What do you think?
I love it.
I was getting the pictures from you.
Yeah, I went out to 3D shoot this weekend. Probably shot better than I've shot in over a decade.
And you're shooting, that's the
Carbon 1X.
Carbon 1X with front and back bars.
Yeah, and I will say I think that made some of the difference because I've never shot a back bar before. But I mean, my sights just sit so steady. And it makes it easier to focus on all my other... the rest of the shot,
Right? Yeah,
you know,
you're not looking at the pin bouncing every.
Yeah, when you're not fighting that, and so I'm able to think, all the way through my shot process about, center it in the ring, and then making sure my bubble's level, and and then making sure my posture's right. That's a big one with my rip shot, because if you sag in, it's easy to kind of change the way you're shooting, but as long as you get to that position every time, it's really accurate. And so
it's funny is you talk to a lot of people, and all of us run back bars now. Now that we got
I came into the
back bar train.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? I never ran a back bar.
You've run back bars since as long as I've known you. But a lot of people, they'll look at that and they'll be like, that's just too much for going through the woods.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what in the world, dude? That takes up less space than I do.
Yeah.
So like if I can't, I've had guys going, well, I hunt really thick stuff. And I'm like, man, if you can't get your body through the brush, the bow's kind of a non-issue.
Yeah.
It doesn't take up any more space because the back bar it's back.
Yeah.
So it's towards you. So it's not extended out.
Yeah.
And
you already got a front stabilizer.
You already got front stabilizer. And that front stabilizer, once you put the arrow on the string before you draw back, the arrow sits further out in front of the bow than the stabilizer does.
Yeah.
Once you put the arrow on the string.
Yeah. So it's really not a point. If you don't have enough room to get the stabilizer through the brush, to draw back, then you're not going to be able to draw it because the arrow takes up more space than that.
Now I have found a balance to stabilizer.
That's what they do. They balance.
I saw what you were doing there.
Yeah.
Where you can have too long, like it drags on the ground, right? Like I've played around because, especially on the horse.
That's just your knuckles.
I know. I just got some long arms.
Well, yeah, your arms are closer to the ground than ours are.
But if you have too long, because on the Hoyt you have your mounting bracket on the front of that riser, right? So you get an extra 5 inches. Well, you put a 12 or 15 inch stabilizer on that, all of a sudden it's 22 inches.
Yep.
And now you're beating the bottom of the stabilizers, catching on the road and on the trail, and that's annoying.
The longest on a front bar I'll run is like a 12.
That's what I put on.
Yeah, I put a 10 just because of that.
I did 12 on the front and 8 on the back. But yeah, as far as confidence, my confidence was through the roof. I had one little section and then the second trail, I got a little tired and I wasn't shooting as good, but it was still in the kill zone every time, like I didn't miss. But there was 3 targets in a row where they had a little center pin in the orange dots.
Like a golf tee.
A golf tee they were holding the orange dot on with, and I hit 3 pins in a row, and it was from 58 yards, like 47 yards and 42 yards, just bam, 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 3 in a row. I was like, man.
That boosts your confidence big time.
Yeah. Makes you feel good.
I got the pictures. My phone's like... Bzz.
I know.
I'm like, are you tired of getting these pictures
you
yet?
Want me to keep sending them or what?
You know what the thing is though.
I think it was a challenge, Marco.
Challenge accepted.
Challenge accepted.
Well, we got that 3D shoot coming up in Lebanon. So we'll put some money on it.
We'll do that.
We'll put some money on.
I'll put some money on you winning. I still don't have a scope or none of that.
Yeah, well, I'll use a hunting bow.
You're going to use your hunting
bows.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll be all hunting bows.
There we go.
Yeah.
It's a little more fair.
No, I'm
even.
excited. I switched strings on mine yesterday.
Mm-hmm. You had to change them because you got different tennis shoes, right?
No, here's what happened.
He matched it to the logo.
Oh,
I matched it to the M2 podcast logo.
That's right.
I was like, that's cool. So, but here's the thing is, you guys changed those colors after I had built the string for my bow. And I sent you, did I send you guys the picture of the string?
Yeah.
The first set, yeah.
And then the next day,
she changed the colors on us.
Changed, and I'm like, you gotta be kidding me.
Just built these.
So
then he had to go buy with another set.
So I got a set, and I got a backup set, and then I got a backup set for the backup set.
Yeah.
Your set.
Now I got to get you guys the same color.
So how'd you like your bow, Marco?
I love it. So I changed the strings and cables out.
You're shooting the Virtue.
Shooting the Virtue. It's 32-inch axle to axle, which is nice because my previous hunting bow was the same axle to axle. I was struggling a little bit with the lightweight. So I think on your 1X, because it's
got that weight up on the top.
Weight up on the top. So I took the dampeners that come on there, the orbit dampeners, and I moved them to the back of the riser and high up. So one up top, one down low to kind of get that weight further out. And it's holding really, really well.
On what you're talking about on my Carbon 1X, because it's a longer bow, instead of lengthening and pouring a different riser, they use the same riser as the Carbon 1, and then they used about a 2.5 piece of machined aluminum.
Yep.
So it adds some weight up at the top and bottom of the bow, and I think that's, like you said, what's making it hold steadier.
Target bows being tall, if we jump into the target world, that tall riser is what makes that bow so stable with the pendulum effect. So it sits very still in your hand because the weight is farther away from your grip. The thing I ran into on the Virtue is being such a light riser, I could feel a little bit more wobble. So I just moved those dampeners, which they're on the ends, but they're on the inside. I moved them to the back of the riser to try to get that weight centered, and it helped.
Did it?
And then I added, I went to 4 ounces on the front bar, and then I went to 4 ounces on the back bar.
Oh, okay.
And it held really well. Same thing as when I did the video for the Facebook. Two shots in a bullet hole.
Yeah.
And it was amazing. I'm just like, this thing with that deadlock system.
You can tune them so fast.
Yeah, tune so fast.
Yeah, mine took 3 shots, but that could have been me.
Yeah, it could have been you. It was definitely you. No, it tuned in really fast. And if people haven't shot that system, there's other companies that do something similar. Bowtech was just the first to do
They were the pioneers of it.
I think they have probably the easiest system.
Well, and that's why, because they were the first. Everyone else had to go around their patent and try a different way, and theirs was the most thought out because they came out with it first. So.
Here's the other thing I did with the cam lock system. So with the cam lock, you can lengthen or shorten your cables. So if your bow gets out of time or out of sync, so that happens frequently when you're hunting. It's hot, wax dissipates out of the string and your cables, and then your bow gets slightly out of time. So what we've done in the past is you'll take your cam and you'll put a mark with like one of those silver Sharpies on the top of the limb and the bottom of the limb on the cam. So when you look at it sideways, you have 2 indicator marks, and that
you see where it is at rest.
Yeah. Yep. So basically, you lay your pin on the riser and then you mark it and then mark the bottom, so that way you have the 2 lines.
And so what you can do with the deadlock, what I did is I made my cables just slightly short so I can have more adjustment, and then I used the cam lock system to get that bow exactly where it was in spec. Now if I get any type of movement out of that, I can just move that cam lock and make sure that bow's always perfectly synced up, so nothing ever changes. It's an amazing system, and by making the cables just slightly shorter, I was able to take the most advantage of that. Cables always stretch. They're not going to shrink. So I made them just, I think you get 3 twists worth of adjustment. So I just made them just slightly shorter so I can use that full range.
So as they stretch, then you've got all that movement.
And they're not going to stretch 3 twists.
Right.
But, I can micro tune that. So if you're hunting, you get back to camp, you look like, it's just barely moved. I can just unlock it. You go a half turn on the time lock, take your Allen wrench, give it a turn, and it comes right
So, I mean, you think that's a real factor that someone hasn't shot their bow since, August 20th, and they're out in the woods in the rain and that the cams will move enough that it'll throw your bow off?
Well, what happens typically is
100%, yes.
Yes?
Well, and what happens a lot is people don't check it.
Yeah.
And
I've never checked mine for...
And I'll tell you, when they do check it...
That's why I'm asking.
Yeah. They check it when they get to a shoot, or they check it when they get in the field.
Well, and I will tell you that, you're talking to guys who tinker and target shoot. Most of the hunters don't even probably know what you're talking about.
Right, but most of the hunters, they check it when they get to the field. Then all of a sudden they're like,
what do you mean they check it by shooting and filling it out of time?
They'll be hunting and they'll look and they'll be like, I think my cam's out of whack, because now everything you're doing involves being out there and with the bow, and you're really, I think, hypersensitive to everything going on. Target guys, they're always looking for an excuse. So I get all the time guys
you
like,
the 8-ball of excuses.
Guys,
shake
for sure. You gotta shake it. Yeah, for sure.
Hey, well, we're running out of time for this segment, but don't go away. We will be right back.
we're back. You're listening to M2 Archery Show. Find us on Facebook at M2 Archery Show.
Find us on Instagram at M2 Archery Show.
Or email us at m2archeryshow@gmail.com.
Or you can check out our website, m2archeryshow.com, or check out the podcast.
Right. And that's exciting news, right? We had a first podcast out this week.
Yep.
Well, actually, now that you're listening, it will be last week.
Well, why is it at 500?
Because we have
501.
500 shows, probably.
Is it? I mean, I was wondering if there's like a real
uploaded.
Like a real
and that's a good point. Monica and I discussed it when we were picking out show numbers.
Yeah.
We've been doing this show for almost 5 years.
Yeah.
And I have a ton of archived radio shows because we've always been on the radio. For those of you who haven't heard us before, we've done a radio show for 4.5 years or a little more.
It'll
almost
be
5
in November.
5 in November. So what we did was leave room to back up and add some of those shows. I don't know that we'll add them all.
Right.
But then...
Well, some of them are so outdated.
Yeah, some of them are outdated. Some of them, we weren't as good at it when we started.
Right.
You know, we're bad now.
Yeah. You should have heard us 5 years ago. We were a couple stumbling. Never mind.
Anyways, back to what I was talking about on the cable stretch. So previous segment, we were talking about, the time lock system and keeping those cams tuned when you're in the field. Target guys, they tinker with that all the time, but a lot of them, they'll change strings and cables and they don't notice. It's a slow kind of it creeps up on you if you don't have indicator marks. That's why I recommend if your hunting setup and you're concerned, put indicator marks on the cam. Use a Sharpie, it's not going to damage. It's not going to damage anything.
No, you can use a product.
Get a silver Sharpie.
Get a silver Sharpie so it stands out. Now, those bows do have indicator marks for timing on the cam itself. There's 2 dots. On the Bowtech, you have 2 dots, and the cables should run through the dots. Matthews typically has a hole in the cam, and the cables should run through the cam. Hoyt has never done anything like that in the past.
Actually, I think they're the worst, the older Hoyts. The newer ones, since they switched systems from the yoke system,
right?
I don't see near the stretch that I did on the old system. You'd see so many problems with that stretching of cables, and it really affects your shot, which is why we were talking kind of before the show, and sighting in your broadheads and getting them to shoot with your field points, so that way you can shoot your field points and then you can grab broadheads and feel confident so you can shoot at camp whenever you're not tearing up targets all the time.
Well, and being out of time isn't as big a deal as being out of sync. So if your cable's stretched uniformly and that bow, they got out of time, so your one cable stretched, the other stretched with it, and they were exactly in sync, you wouldn't have the issues that you do if they're out of sync. And almost all bows now are like a hybrid cam.
Right.
So the top and bottom cams have the same shape to them. So if they're out of sync, so let's say that top cam is a little bit advanced and the bottom doesn't because of stretch, now your string has an extreme whip to it. And that's when you really see
highs and lows and things. And you can't ever be consistent because it depends on how hard you pull.
Yep. Into the back. Yeah. Because if you have stops on them, like the bows we have cable stops, you draw that back and your bottom stop hits, and then you pull a little harder than the top stop hits, then that bow's really out of sync.
Yeah. You know how you know when you're in sync? If you're like got AirPods in and you hear that song Bye Bye Bye.
That's dumb.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah. I actually had to look it up. I'm like, I don't know any NSYNC songs.
I thought you were going to pull out.
I did.
Dude, you know how I know you're old?
Well, I know who NSYNC is. I just didn't care for their music where I remember.
You should just start off with a bye bye bye.
I thought you were going to say
when you're in sync, bye bye bye.
I thought you were going to say blame it on the rain.
Yeah.
I don't see that one on here.
That's Milli Vanilli.
I was going to say, that's not the right.
Remember Milli Vanilli?
No. Ice Ice Baby.
No, that's
same timing.
Milli Vanilli. That was
Milli Vanilli was about out at the same time as Vanilla Ice.
They're the guys that they pulled. They won a music award,
and then they realized they were lip syncing.
Yeah, they were lip syncing. They were.
Yeah, dude, I didn't even know that.
Yeah,
you're too young.
Oh yeah, they were goofy back then. They weren't cool, but yeah, it was awesome.
Well, staying in sync is important.
Yeah, so staying in sync is important, and so that's why I like the idea of marking the cams.
So what's funny, okay, I'm trying to bring you two back to reality, okay? Because, no, seriously, I talk to a lot of the just normal hunters that don't know about bows the way you guys do, a lot of them you just talked over their head.
Right.
Okay. And so if they're out in the field, say they don't have this system, but what's one of the, and I think I know, but what's one of the telltale signs that your bow just got way out of sync?
If you pull and you feel double stops.
Okay. If you feel it go clink, clink.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you have somebody watch, you can tell. Some of the bows had an old trough system. So the module, so the groove.
You lost me with trough system, by the way.
So the
I've never heard of that.
Troughs it, no.
You have cable stops, which is what our systems have, and the Bowtech systems have.
Hoyt's also run
have
the cable stops.
Yeah, and then they have limb stops. Now, limb stops, I think Obsession uses them. Some of the older Bowtechs had them.
The old Matthews did too.
Yeah,
because I remember the first time I pulled a Matthews, I'm like, "Whoa! You feel how solid that wall is?"
Yeah, and so
that was a big seller, but I didn't know why.
And what that does
Hoyt had some too that you could put on.
As you draw the bow around, this stop hits the limb, and it limits how far you can draw it. Elite ran limb stops for a long time, so. What you can do is you can have, now the trough stop, what that is in the module, there's just a flat piece and the cable drops in a little trough and the module is the stop.
The module stops it on the cable.
Yeah, and that's the most spongy back wall you'll get.
Yeah.
Well, and that's where your old target Hoyts are that way, where you have one's a trough stop and one's a
those multi-adjustable bows like the Diamond Edge. I think they have that.
They have a trough stop
because you can kind of pull into
on
it.
Those type. No, a lot of bows now, like the ones we're running, have modules that you can rotate to get length.
Yeah,
and then you move the stop to a corresponding length.
So then you've got a more solid stop.
The early system, what you would do is you would loosen a screw and that stop would slide.
Yeah.
And that was not a great system because if people would go too long, like say you're 28 and you were trying to move to 30, you'd lengthen it and then all of a sudden the cam would over cam and it would just go slack and it'd be locked at full draw.
Right.
So those are the three systems. Now, when you're in the field, you want to check it. There's no way to really adjust it if you don't have time lock. Or one of those type of new systems.
If you don't have a Bowtech, brand new Bowtech.
So Bowtech has that, and then also
Darton.
Yeah, Darton, and
they go about it differently.
They actually do it on the floating yoke.
Yeah.
So it's different than the old yoke system that Hoyt would run.
And one of the other ones had something too.
But you could buy those if you have a yoke system, a floating yoke, and you can buy that and have that
install
available.
it.
Yeah.
Now, way back in the day when they ran steel cables, they ran a similar system to that. You can actually change it at the yoke that way. So it's a system that's been around for a long time. They just kind of brought it back.
Right.
But it's nice because you can adjust it that way. Now, if you're in the field and you're by yourself, you have to feel, like Matt said, draw it back. And if you feel a stop and you pull and it kind of lobes and stops again, you know you're out of sync.
Yeah.
And that's really bad.
Otherwise, have somebody
You're out of sync and you got to go back to your Pandora and put in sync on.
Pandora too. We're on Pandora. That's awesome.
Okay, there you go. Hey, or go to Pandora and listen to the M2 Archery Show podcast.
That's what I would do.
That sounds
I don't think I've ever listened to NSYNC, to be honest, or looked them up anyways, other than just now.
But that's the way you can tell, and that's critical for flight.
Yeah.
Well, another good way is by having it, if you're seeing that you're shooting higher or lower, right? So if you're shooting and you're pretty consistent normally,
and all of a sudden
you're getting just flyers that are going up and down on a line, not so much left to right, could be that's something to look at.
Yep.
Interesting. I might have okay. Anyway, we got to take a break. Don't go away. We're going to come back and do another segment.
And we're back. This is the M2 Archery Show. Find us on Facebook at M2 Archery Show.
Find us on Instagram at M2 Archery Show.
Or email us at m2archeryshow@gmail.com.
Or find us on your favorite podcast now. So if you missed the show ever and you just want to get your M2 Archery fix, go to Pandora, go to Apple iTunes,
Don't go to your favorite podcast.
You can just go to our
your
website.
Favorite podcast is the M2 Archery Show. Go to your favorite podcast platform.
Right. But, well, you know what I meant. Jeez. Quit trying to be.
I have to be able to get you once in a while. You're the guy that knows all the tech stuff.
Yeah. So your favorite platform and find us, or just go to our website at m2archeryshow.com and you can go right to our podcast
Or you
anytime.
can email us.
You can email us, which Scott did email us. Did you see that?
I did see the email.
Oh, I didn't see this one. What do you say?
He did a 10-mile bike ride overnight.
That mountain bike setup he's got
It's pretty sweet.
is set up.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
He
it's a
sent you a
sweet setup.
picture?
Yeah, it was on the email.
You ever check the email?
No, I don't even have to log into our email.
Now
you guys,
do. You do. Now you do. You don't have an excuse.
Oh, my wife does. I'm doing the technical side,
Right.
You guys.
So Scott, if you're listening, which we're pretty sure you are, that's an awesome bike setup.
Yeah, it is.
It is
sick.
awesome.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, he's got the saddlebags on the front. He's got the saddlebags in the back. The only thing I do is I run the trailer.
Oh, yeah, for
Because
sure.
I can throw my stuff in the
But
trailer.
it's so much lighter when you don't have to tow something like
Yeah.
that.
Oh, yeah.
Or especially if you get to where you have to push the thing.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's
going
hor-
uphill.
I
and you
have
the
some
trailers.
vivid memories of out in Hell's Canyon dragging my bike with a trailer up this really steep hill, and then you get to ride down, and then you got to go up the next one.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like you drag and take
Dude, it's
two
all
steps.
about that dragging and that back brake, man.
That was
Holding on the
horrible.
back brake.
Yeah,
Push.
so it doesn't like go back down the hill.
Exactly.
So if
yeah.
you're in spots like where I go, then you can use the e-bike.
Yeah,
You
right.
can't use it.
No, we
in
can't
Hell's
use it
Canyon.
there. It's wilderness.
Yeah.
But back to the bows. So I just want to question you, Marco, on the Virtue. Probably and it's their selling point for the Virtue is how light it is, right? Because they use a magnesium alloy.
Yeah, it's like a super magnesium.
And so super magnesium.
Super.
It's got the rare earth
Super duper.
metals in it.
Okay. So, but to you, that was almost what you struggled with. So you added a little weight back to get it to hold better, right? But it's still a good bow.
Yeah, here's the thing about a light bow. So in the target world, we like a kind of a heavier bow. It's what they call movement of inertia. So if a bow is stagnant on the shot, then you're going to hold better, obviously. But what happens is the lighter the bow, the more you can influence it. So if I get a little bit of a flex or I get a little bit of a flinch, the more mass weight, the harder it is to get that weight moving.
Mhm.
So a heavier bow is more forgiving.
Right.
So a lighter bow, because you have less mass weight, it's easy to get moving by little twitches or even flexes in your hand. People that hold their hand open intentionally so they're not gripping it, they'll get even more movement. You don't want to grip the bow, but you want just
a light,
just like you stand with your hands kind of cupped.
Although I was doing that the other day and I did it 2 different times. I don't think I've ever did on it before, but it must be the way the handle's shaped on my bow. I had a fletch hit my finger twice.
And that's the thing. When target guys, a lot of times will hold high up on the grip. And I tend to hold really high because I shot a shoot through riser forever. So you could get away with that. When I switched to just shooting from Hoyt to Bowtech years ago, I would hit my hand with the fletching a lot, my index finger. So I have to intentionally move it down.
That's what I started doing because I'm like, oh, that kind of stung.
But going back, it'll wake you up. And that's why the other reason I cut my arrows long, because I want my broadheads in front of that.
Yeah, but I mean, a lot of people go after the light bow because they shoot once at the animal they're hunting for a month.
But here's
and they got to pack their bow around
here's
a whole lot more.
But here's the other thing about a light mass weight bow. I can put the weight where I want it.
Right.
So I'm not trying to overcome the mass weight of the bow.
Right.
So if the bow's a heavier riser and it's got a little bias,
you can't back off.
Right. Yeah, you can't take weight off, but on a heavier bow. But if it's got bias to it, say it's leaning towards your accessory side where your sight is, then I run a back bar or side bar. I have to put more mass weight there to correct that.
But it's easier to add weight than it is to take it off. So starting with a light bow is a good thing.
That's right. Yeah. And so mine completely set up right now. I'm at 7.3 pounds with arrows in the quiver, which seems like a lot, but for what I'm used to shooting,
that's
what's your bow from last year? What does it weigh?
8.5.
So you're lighter than that by quite a bit.
By a pound.
Wow, that's a lot.
Up in ounces make pounds, man.
Ounces make pounds.
I tend to put a lot of weight on a bow because I like it to sit really steady. And I figure if I can't carry it to where I'm going to shoot a bull, I'm not going to be able to carry the quarters out. Yeah, right. So,
ounces make pounds and pounds make sore backs.
So for me, I like a heavier bow. I did weigh it today. It was like 7.2, I think, with everything on it after I added more weight to it. But again, I don't have to put as much weight to overcome that. And I might start pulling some weight off to try and, get to where I feel I like it. with the center mass sight, if I put that same sight that Nat's using on in a center mass, or I get the Picatinny mount for the spot hog.
No, he has a center mass.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I have a center mass.
So
mine's a dovetail.
if I get the Picatinny mount and then put the
center mouse.
boonie,
Yeah.
put the Picatinny center mass, I think I'll be able to pull some weight off of it because I won't have that lean with the spot hog boonie sitting on the outside. The boonie's a big sight. You got a lot.
It's their smallest, but I mean, spot hog builds their stuff tough.
Yeah, you could drive over with an Abrams tank and pick it up, and it'd be fine.
Yeah.
They're pretty good. They're pretty tough.
Make good stuff.
Yeah, but it's stuff. I mean, they're not light. They're not lightweight.
Okay, we got to take another break, but don't go away. We got more archery excitement when you come back, or we come back, whichever one it is.
And we're back. You're listening to the M2 Archery Show. Find us on Facebook at M2 Archery Show.
Find us on Instagram at M2 Archery Show.
Or emails at m2archershow@gmail.com.
And if you missed us, go find us on your favorite podcast platform.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, there you go. Wherever you pay for free podcasts.
Wherever you pay for free. I like that.
Check out our website.
And just go to you can actually just hit the links of the different podcasts right there, and it'll take you right to them.
That's right.
I was listening and to the podcast the other day in the truck, and I was laughing pretty hard.
You
were laughing at yourself.
I think it's because we were talking about the bear that we had rigged up to swing out of the rafters.
I totally forgot about that. Was cracking me up.
Oh my gosh.
And I remember that thing swinging out of the rafters, almost killing us. I was actually trying to find the old video of it.
I totally remember thinking
we had the video of it somewhere.
I totally remember thinking this brought out the 12-year-old boy in all of us.
Oh yeah, for sure.
We were telling Casey about it, and I would think he was like, "Man, these guys are a little over the top here."
Like, on second thought, don't go in the range.
Yeah, don't. No,
you're bouncing arrows off the ground for playing horse.
That's what happens when you have your own range.
Yeah,
that's right. We had ramps.
Yeah, we didn't have anybody around we could hurt severely.
Exactly.
Intentionally.
Not intentionally.
So Matt's shooting the Proven 34.
Yeah. Yep. And actually, I got it, played around with it. I don't paper tune my stuff as much. What I do is I actually put a level on the bow and put a level on my arrow and make sure that everything's lined up perfectly. And then I usually take a bear shaft and a fletch shaft. I put some tape on the bear shaft so it weighs the same, has the same back weight, and shoot them and get them to shoot the same or very similar. And I'll get a super good flight arrow, because there's been a lot of times where I've shot arrows that had perfect paper tuning, that I put a broadhead in them and they shoot like garbage. So for me, paper tuning gets you like a good idea, but it's not necessarily where you want to be. So
you have to broadhead tune.
You have to broadhead tune. And so for me, it's just another step. So I got to the point to where I could just take a bear shaft to get it to where it's shooting nice and straight. I can see, especially if you're shooting like 60 yards is some of my favorite, 60, 70, and you're looking for tail whip as it's going, right? It can't be windy outside, because if it's windy, you're going to get tail whip. But you're looking for a good straight path. And that's when you kind of know you're on the right area. Also, if you're shooting at 20 yards and you're going back to 70, and if you have an adjustable sight, if you're staying in that same realm where you don't have left to rights, then you're also going to be in a good tune too.
What you're doing is you're doing a walk back tune.
Doing a walk back tuning and then a bear shaft tuning.
So the way you walk back tune, you could do it where a lot of guys would traditionally have a big target with a line on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you can do it without the line, because you're just doing the same thing. You're just walking back using your different pins, and you can see your left and rights without the line.
Exactly.
You're aiming the same point.
Yeah, aiming on the same point, but I'll use the same pin. So if my 60, I'll shoot it at 20, and then I'll shoot it out to 60. And as long as I'm shooting, because if you have different pins, say you have a spot hog sight, and you ran it and it's different from, you're not on that line all the way across, then you can have a variance. So if you're customizing that at all, you could have issues. So you want to use the same pin, so that way you're tracking it correctly. But that'll let you know if you're at 60 yards and you go to 150 and you're seeing left to rights, then there could be a problem with your walk back tuning.
You want to get your third axis set first before you do that.
All your axes have to be set, and honestly, the best way to set your axis is to shoot it in. That's
absolutely.
That's what I did this
weekend.
bow.
Yeah, find a place where you can put a target downhill for me, and then uphill. I'd like to check both. Downhill is the easiest to shoot because I just feel like for me it's the most stable. Uphill is a lot harder to stay stable on, and so if you're shooting downhill, it's going to be a little bit easier to have a better group and to kind of see your left, right, and put a line on a target. Like, don't worry about shooting at a circle. It's one of the biggest things I started doing when I wanted to get like good marks is I stopped looking at a circle and I started looking at a line, right? And so I'll do like an X. I want to be as close. I don't care if it's left or right. I want it to be as close to that middle and have less variance. And then same for left to right, be as close to that middle and then sight it in that way. And then you can shoot at circles because circles are awesome to shoot at. Right. But it doesn't give you, it gives you too much of a flex, because you're like, oh, I'm an inch, somebody, if you're shooting target, you're shooting like a field round or a Vegas target. You're like, oh, you're an inch out of the dot. But really, you're like 4 or 5 inches out of the dot, even if you're an inch out, because you could be an inch to 4 inches to the middle of the dot. So you want to get that out of your head where being in the dot feels good. And you want that X to be your point, so that way you have more variance.
Okay, so how'd you feel about your bow?
So anyway, all that said, I actually really liked it. It was weird. I usually shoot for my hunting stuff 29.5 inches, and this one I'm shooting 30.
Because you have ape arms.
Because I have ape arms.
Matt's, how tall are you? 5'10"?
5'9".
5'9", and he shoots a 30-inch draw.
That gives you...
Yeah.
And I'm a 28-inch draw.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have freakishly long arms, but I do. And I'm pretty broad chested too.
That's probably a big part of it because you're really wide at the shoulders.
Yeah.
So that makes up for a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. And weight, I think also the bigger you are, like not even just belly weight, but like if you're a big dude, right, and you got a really broad chest, that's going to change your draw length a lot also, right? So if you lose a lot of weight, your draw length could change.
It's all about the distance between your ears.
But anyway, I have to say, I shot this bow, and without getting everything, like I'm not 100% dialed, but I walked it out to 90 yards without even shooting, without even getting any kind of marks. And I was just felt so comfortable with that bow. Like it's like the perfect 3D bow.
Wow.
Like if I was to grab like a 3D bow and be like, it's fast. I mean, obviously I'm shooting it at the preferred draw length with a 340 grain arrow, but I'm bombing at like almost 317 feet per second.
That's kind of fast.
It's
I mean, it doesn't feel fast to me, but it's kind of fast.
That's kind of fast.
It's safe.
No, I mean, it's, shooting your hunting arrows at 317 feet per second. That's getting it. I mean, that don't hurt my feelings at all.
I'm at 302 and I was like, man, that thing's scooting.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, normally, and I'm shooting a lighter arrow, right? 440 versus, 500 or 520. Because I went from shooting an 80-pound bow to a 70-pound bow. So I'm switching my arrows around a little bit. And I wanted to play with, I'm going to shoot 125 grain tip versus 150 grain tip and kind of play with the system a little bit. But I have to say, I was shooting some really good groups. It held, and it's kind of like that target setup where it's got a really long riser, right? So yeah, it really holds nice all the way out to distance. I was really impressed with it.
So it's
gonna be a killer.
Yeah,
we're all pretty happy with our bows.
Very happy.
Yeah, and not only that, they're very tunable, quickly tunable.
That's nice.
Huge.
Yeah, especially if you like preseason, you like to adjust stuff. You don't have to. Where I'd have to go and put it on the press. I don't have to do that now. I can do it all with my own wrenches right there on the range.
Yeah.
I love not having to put stuff in my press.
We got to take another break, so don't go away. We're going to come back with one more segment.
And we're back. Here's the M2 Archery Show. Find us on Facebook at M2 Archery Show.
Find us on Instagram at M2 Archery Show.
And email us at m2archershow@gmail.com.
And tell you what, if you missed last week's radio show, you can now go hear it on podcast from our website, or just go to your favorite platform and look up M2 Archery Show, and it should be there. So, if you didn't hear, we were with Bowtech, and
Casey Fletcher.
Yeah, and we're sponsored by Bowtech now, and they gave us all new bows, and we had a good time setting them up, and that's I feel like that podcast went off really well, our first one. And
yeah, I thought it went well.
So we'd like you to go listen to it if you missed it, even if you want to hear it again, and then maybe come back to our social media pages and leave some comments. Let us know what you think. So
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, or send us an email.
Yeah, you can do it in an email. That way not everybody sees it. And nobody's like, oh, man, did you see what that guy said about Marco?
Yeah. So if they're good stuff.
You guys do have faces for radio.
if they do, I do. If they do, I'll put it on social media. So I'll make sure that I put your picture and do all the fine edits.
Yeah. So anyways, but it's exciting. So this show, you'll hear it this weekend on the radio, but you can also go listen to it anytime you want at your leisure, which we've been getting requests for that for a long time. So we're finally doing it, and it was a lot of work to get it there, but
finally done.
My wife didn't leave me over it. And that's not because I was working too much.
It was because
she was working too much.
We spent a year and a half on just figuring out.
Kind of. And then she improved it right before.
It's not like it's the main focus of our lives.
Yeah, no.
Like, we do this because we love it. Like, we just love hunting. We love hanging out with each other. It's just been something that we've just been doing for a long time. And so it's just kind of something that's more fun. And
yeah.
Well, speaking of more fun, I want to go back to what Matt was saying during the break, when he was talking about the tuning and the issues where we're trying to find movement, and sometimes you're getting contact with an arrow or something on a rest.
I was talking about, so they were talking about how, I got 3 arrows and my bow was tuned perfect. And I was like, well, mine took a little bit longer. Not because I took a couple minor adjustments. I didn't see the movement that I wanted. So then I went the extreme on the other side of the cam, and I tightened it all the way on the other side, work my way back to see where did that go. And then we talked about how on rest adjustments, well, we've done that where we went, a couple light little turns. Because a lot of times, like 1/8 of an inch will be a huge impact point. Like, you move your peep sight an 1/8 of an inch, man, everything's crazy off, right? So little adjustments, micro adjustments can make a big adjustment. But sometimes it doesn't feel like you're doing that. So, I would do a couple little adjustments, and then I'd just go the other way just to see how far do I have to go. Did I go too far? And so there's been times in the past where I did a big adjustment on my rest after a couple micro adjustments and moved it, and then it didn't move. So then I knew by that there was something else that was impacting my arrow. At the time, it was like a rest wasn't falling down correctly, and I was getting fletch contact. And so being able to do small adjustments, but then a big adjustment to see, hey,
is this going to change it?
Yeah. Is this going to make a difference?
That's where paper is handy. Mm-hmm. So if you're shooting through paper, and a lot of times in the pro shop, we'd just be micro adjusting something, and I'm like, man, I'm just not seeing, like Matt's saying, not seeing the movement. I might take a rest and I might move it extreme to one side, just boom, because I want to see something change on the paper.
Yeah.
So I'll move it like way out of center shot, either inside or outside, shoot it through paper, and I'm like, okay, now I got a drastic tear. Then I'll start working it back.
And if you're sitting here listening and you're going, but I don't have a paper tuner, you can go to our Facebook, like we've suggested you do.
And Nat and I built a paper tuner in less than 2 minutes.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
From a box.
You know what's awesome? I never even thought of that. Like, such a
it's Marco's
good idea.
It's Marco's thing.
Because I went over to Nat's and I forgot my paper tuner.
You're like, how are we going to do this? Such a great idea.
And we just used 8x11 paper. Everybody has that.
Yeah.
So it's great. Or newspaper, anything.
Yeah.
Use anything. But looking for a drastic tear. The other thing Matt and I were talking about is the foot powder spray.
Mm-hmm.
So take the back of your arrow where your fletchings are and spray that with foot powder.
Or gold bond or whatever you want.
Whatever.
Yeah. Or powder. Yeah.
And when you shoot that.
Just not used gold bond.
Come here, Matt. So the idea is when you shoot that, because your fletchings and your arrow is coated with this, it'll leave a mark on the rest. So if there's contact, it'll mark the inside of the rest. On target bows, sometimes we would spray when I would shoot indoor arrows, where I was using back when I'd use like a big feather fletch. I still use a 5-inch fletching.
Do you really?
Oh yeah.
For hunting?
I love for target, for indoor on my big fat arrows because
so do I.
The arrows are moving slower.
Yeah.
But I would spray the inside of the shelf.
Right.
So when the arrow comes by, if it's touching the inside of that riser, I would see it mark.
Yeah, you can see it
pull
mark
it off,
on
and then that foot powder you can just clean off real easy.
Yeah, so helpful. Like
on your hunting setup, you do it on the fletching. So if it's contacting anything, it'll leave that mark on there, and so you could say, you could look and be like, oh, it's hitting the rest right here, and you can adjust that, account for that. Maybe you need to turn the fletching, the arrow a little bit,
or your rest isn't falling.
Yeah, it's not dropping out of the way,
or it's too high. Maybe it's bouncing off and coming back up. Like. A lot of different options.
And if you try and use a larger vein, like I started using those Q2Is, those are a good profile, and they stabilize really well.
Yeah, they do.
But I was worried about clearance, and so I sprayed them and shot it, and I was getting no contact at all.
Do you remember the last year that you owned your bow shop, and I had to break the basket?
Oh, that's right.
Because I couldn't get them to clear.
Yep, had to break the cage around the containment rest on a
vapor trail.
Well, if you stopped shooting fobs, you would have been fine.
Those fobs were such a nightmare. And then Nat discovered that they actually come on the top of the squeeze.
Yeah, the applesauce. Yeah, I'm like, look, it's a fob lid. Look just like it.
I mean, I get the concept. It was a great idea.
Right.
So the arrow would pass through the animal, and the fob
would drop like a marker.
Right, and the fob replaced the fletching, so it'd go on the back of the arrow, and then the nock would secure it in place, and you would buy it based on the diameter of your arrow. And so as the arrow passed through like a deer, then it would leave the fob on the ground. You'd be like, oh, this is where it was.
Well, if it was a true fob, you could just pick it up, hit the button, and then it would beep out where the deer is.
The deer would be like, there it is.
That'd be so much better.
It's like lights would flash.
Yeah. It'd give you a different sound if it was alive or dead.
Yeah. We better hold on.
Yeah, we better hold on.
They
wait till
did
tomorrow.
make a nock that had a burr in it.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, it would stay in the animal.
That was years ago.
Yeah, and it was it had this big giant thing that
it was like a beeping light. Remember Mission Impossible?
The old movies, the antennas would come out, big dee, dee, dee,
yeah,
dee, dee,
that's what it was.
Guy's looking for radiation, or he's looking for a deer. But the thing would stay in, and then you could look. And then they also made like a breadcrumb nock that was like Bluetooth.
Oh yeah, I remember the Bluetooth. It was a blue one.
Right, but you would have to be within 30 feet or something.
Yeah, you had to have like it. Yeah, you had to be really.
It's
close.
like at 30 feet, I could see it.
Yeah, it's like Bluetooth. Yeah, unless it's underwater. Like,
now, do you guys remember the old way that they would do tracking?
The line?
Yeah,
yes.
Like the dental floss.
Yeah, they had.
No, seriously, it was like
fish on.
Yeah, no, seriously. That went on the front of your bow. And you would shoot. And
I remember that.
The line out with it.
Yeah, and just keep going till it breaks.
Till it breaks, and the animal would run off and just be towing dental floss behind it.
Yeah.
They just pick it up and give it a little pull, and like,
there's still some active movement there.
What are we doing here?
That was
tie it to the inside of a cup, put it up to your ear, and go. I still hear his heart.
Could you imagine how that would affect your arrow?
Oh man!
I mean, we're talking. This came out years ago. But if I was still really young,
if you shoot at 10 yards, it don't matter.
I mean, that's it. You'd have to shoot it from like a ground line.
Tree stand.
You know what's funny? I was patrolling through our Facebook, and I saw you. I saw you put a picture of you back in 2005, and it said 9 yards.
Oh yeah,
you killed that bull. I'm like, shoot, man, I killed one at 9 yards exactly too in 2000, 5 years before that. It was actually my biggest bull too.
But you weren't using that string.
No, I didn't need to. I shot him, and he kind of looked back like, what was that? And then he walked about 40 yards and just fell over.
He's like, something bit me. Something bit me.
Actually, I think that was that 05, 04?
It said 05 on the
Maybe
picture.
It was 05.
Yeah,
I don't know.
You were like 8.
You looked really young in the picture.
That was actually the year before I got married.
I'm not gonna lie, I looked pretty young in mine in 2002. I used to have hair.
Yeah, that was 20 years ago, dude.
25 years ago.
That's a long. You said 2000.
2000.
Oh yeah, 25 years ago.
25. That's almost half my life ago.
Yeah, that's
seriously.
Wow, that's crazy.
Isn't it funny how different you change from like your childhood to all of a sudden you becoming an adult, and then you don't change a whole lot from 20 to 30, but then from 30 to 40, you kind of start to change quite a bit.
And then 40 to 50, it's just
and
all
then 40
downhill.
to 50, and then you hit 60. And then it all goes downhill.
Here's what happens when you hit 50. You start looking at your pack. And you're like, okay,
do I need that?
Do I need to take that, or can I just get away with running the day pack?
Do I need pack all that?
I'm actually been looking for a good day pack. I'm like, that one I got, what is it, almost 6,000 cubic inches?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I better find a day pack because I don't need to go down in the wilderness.
I grab the day pack a lot now.
Yeah.
And I'm like, let's see. How can I downsize my medical kit? And
I've hunted with that big one for years and just always used it.
I've always used a big pack. But yeah, last couple of years, I'm like, I think I'll just grab the day pack.
Here's the reason I like the big pack, okay? Because if you've hiked, even around town where we hunt, I'll hike in 7-8 miles sometimes. And then if you get one down, I've got my pack on it. There's no walking back to the truck to have to go get my pack. I can deal with him right there. I got everything I need, my game bags, and then I can haul part of him back.
Depending on where
even
you're
if
at.
I'm by myself.
Yeah, depending where you're at, you can hike back, grab the e-bike with the trailer.
And make your life.
Yeah, but not where I hunt. You can't take an e-bike in. So, where I did hunt. Not where I'm hunting this year.
See, where you're hunting now, you're good.
Yeah, I think this year I could use that, couldn't I?
Yeah. And then around where you live, you can use the e-bike.
Yeah. It's all relative though, because same thing, but if I'm doing tree stand hunting, I don't want to take that pack.
Right.
Like my pack's like a 2300, but it's got like where it folds out and you can put quarters and stuff on the outside of it.
Yeah.
So like that's perfect. Even for a day pack, it's not like too crazy. But when I go to like my tree stand or I go to do something like that, like I don't want to carry that.
Yeah, what's funny?
I fill my binoculars full of like food.
Right?
you just reminded me. I went on this just real quick impromptu hunt with my son's climbing tree stand.
Right.
And I took my big pack with me, and I'm like, I'm not carrying this up with me. So about 50 yards away, I just set it down by the side of this grassy road. And I went up this tree, and I froze my butt off. The temperature changed like, I don't know, 40 degrees that day. It just dropped while I was in the tree. Yeah. And I'm sitting there shivering, and I'm like, I need to get down. I finally just hadn't seen a deer. I get down and I hit the ground with my feet, and I almost fell over. My legs were that numb. I was just like, I can't walk.
Because his cold weather gear was in his pack that he set on the road.
Yeah.
And so, what's funny is then I stepped back. The road was about, 50 yards away. So I walk over to the road and I looked back where my pack is to see, I'm assuming it's still there. Not only was it still there was 2 deer there sniffing my pack.
Nice.
I'm like, I sit in that cold thing this whole time. Didn't see a dang deer.
Just set their pack down and walk away and watch it.
They were sitting there sniffing my pack.
Like, what's in there? There's got to be something good. There's like granola.
There's some granola.
Yeah, it was like they were looking for food.
But a lot of the spots I'm going in my hunting spots now, I'm only going like 1.5 miles, 2 miles.
That's because you're getting old.
Because I'm getting old. But I'm just like, I'll just grab the day pack and go into those spots.
Yeah, what's a good day pack?
A good day.
A good day.
Good day.
Everybody makes a
What's a good day's pack?
Yeah.
What's the cubic inches? Like, what are you talking
probably
about?
Around 2,200 for a day.
Smaller than that.
Smaller than that?
Oh, yeah. So I just need enough room for some snacks, a 3-liter bladder, and then a small med kit.
Yeah, but for you snacks, you need a 3,500.
No, seriously, I know.
He would need it like 35, 4,000.
Oh, no. I just throw a box of those Costco protein bars in there, and I'm good. And then a knife. And so because I'm so close, it's like, you know what? I can get back down and grab the e-bike and trailer and be back in there. Yeah. So, and if it's a spot where I can't take the e-bike, it's only 1.5 miles at tops.
Yeah.
Well, 2 miles tops.
A lot of times, even when I want to pack things out, I go back and get a meat pack to go bring stuff back.
Well, we got to go back and in this show, we're out of time again.
Oh, man. Hey, thanks for tuning in. Goodbye. God bless.